This Jonathan Major story is getting more and more nutty. So I haven't been talking a lot about it because, we're kind of waiting to see what comes up. I did a few videos on it back when the story first broke, but now it appears like there's a bunch of new information coming out. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and if you're new or old, hit the like button. It does help me out quite a bit. Oh, I don't want to see this. Anyways, let's talk about this article here from People. People.com, aka People Magazine. Jonathan Majors appears to admit physically attacking ex Grace Jabari in text messages entered into evidence. So, the text messages regarding an earlier incident were previously deemed inadmissible at trial. So, this basically, what's going on here, in case you didn't know, Jonathan Majors, the guy who plays Kang the Conqueror in the MCU and He Who Remains, he, I guess, was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend, but it was kind of controversial because basically there was talk about both of them being toxic, and she was sort of like, saying that it wasn't that serious, that she blew it up. But now there's information coming out saying this guy's got a history of this. Now, when the story first broke, if you remember, I wasn't the only one that covered it. There were people in Hollywood who were talking about how this guy comes off like a nice guy, but he's really not, and pointed out like a bunch of things he's done wrong, and like he's kind of a prick on set. But just because you're a prick on set does not mean you're a wife beater or a woman beater. You understand? So let's move on to the article here. It says, in text messages between Jonathan Majors and accuser Grace Jabari, the Marvel actor appears to admit to physical violence against his now ex 6 months before Majors was arrested in March and charged with assault in a separate domestic violence case. So this was back in 2022. It says here, I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. Majors 34, Jabari 30 in September 2022. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. So he's basically saying, lie for me so that I don't get investigated. Now this, I'm not a lawyer, but this could be damning evidence. It may not necessarily be because it's a different incident, but if they can prove there's a pattern here, it could lead to the decision being made of him being guilty because he has a pattern of violence before. Moving on, it says, in that message, Majors also stated it's just fake, but based on the message put into evidence, there was no clear what he was calling fake, and no context was provided in court. I don't think he was talking about pro wrestling. What do you think he'd be talking about? It's just fake. I don't know if he's talking about her behavior or what. Here's a picture of them together. And if you remember going back to the first video I did about this, I chose not to pass judgment on this man. And even now, I'm still not really passing judgment because these text messages don't tell the whole story. There could obviously be a lot more. And I'm not saying that because I'm some kind of fanboy and I love Kang the Conqueror. I know a lot of people tend to put celebrities on a pedestal, even when they do wrong. Like, for example, when Bill Cosby did what he did, people were like, oh, he would never do that. He's Mr. Huxtable. When it's like, no, dude, he's an actor. The real person might not be as nice as the character they portray. And people do that. Like, people have weird celebrity obsessions and pedestaling. That's not what's going on here. I don't know this dude. If he gets canned from Kang for beating up a chick, I mean, honestly, like, okay. Like, I would not want to be associated with him either if he did that. In the text messages displayed to the jury and read to the record by Jabari on her fourth and final day on the stand on Friday, Jabari appears to assure Majors that she would not blame him for allegedly causing injuries to her head. I will tell the doctor I bumped my head, Jabari cried as she read aloud the message in court. So she basically saying, I'm not going to tell him you did it. I'm going to say the doctor did it. Now, there's a couple things going on here that I want to discuss with you guys. Because as you know, on this channel, people on YouTube tend to like really go over the top with their shit. And you know that I try to be as realistic and real as possible about this. So if he's really beating her up and gaslighting her into lying about it, that's basically an abusive relationship. However, I talked about this in one of the early videos I did about this situation. This relationship itself could be just overall toxic, including her. She might also inflict damage. There was a story about how he had cuts on his neck, maybe from her fingernails. There was a lot of different, speculations going on, but I've been around toxic couples who always fight, and I don't believe a man should hit a woman. I really don't. I was raised that way. If a woman's coming at me with a weapon or something like that, that's a different story. But it could be a situation where she's also hitting him, and these two just might not get along, but they might be together or they were together because of other reasons. Sometimes couples will stay together because they have kids, which they don't. They stay together because they're worried about being single. The sex is good. There's a lot of different reasons as to why people stay in these relationships. For all we know, she may just have battered housewife syndrome, if any of this is true. But you have to understand, I don't know these people, so I'm not going to sit there and say that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Then, unable to continue through her tears, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Galloway took over. I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep. I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I don't want to be? When it's clear I want to be with you. That's really damning evidence, man. Like, she's basically saying, these are text messages sent to him, like, don't worry, I love you. I'm gonna make sure you don't get in trouble. That is major battered housewife syndrome. It happens a lot, man. You'll have it happens to guys too. You'll be in an abusive relationship, and then instead of like leaving it, which is for your own good, you will justify being in it, blame yourself, and basically let your emotions take over your logic to be with this person. This happens a lot, y'all. Some of you guys have probably experienced this. I have not in my life, but I have friends who have. The text messages, which were previously mentioned by prosecutors in a 115-page pretrial filing in October, are considered Malinukes evidence. I have no idea what that means. I'm going to have to ask my lawyer friend about that, which the New York State Unified Court System defined, it tells you right there, as conduct that is inextricably interwoven with the charged acts, which may provide necessary background information or explanation to the charged acts. But basically what that means, y'all, is these text messages, according to the prosecutors, prove that this guy has a history of beating this woman up and then gaslighting her into not telling anybody. Right? That's what it sounds like this whole thing is about. Terrifying, man. In that filing, prosecutors mentioned medical records from London related to an incident that occurred in September 2022. London. Look, man, I'm going to be real with you. Kang might get pruned, folks. Even if he gets found innocent, or not guilty, not innocent, not guilty, Kang might still be proved. Disney might look at this and be like, all right, this is too much. They cut Gina Carano for less, let me tell you. Gina Carano never did this. She's a professional fighter. In that filing, prosecutors mentioned that earlier incident of alleged abuse had previously been ruled inadmissible. But in a series of cross-examination questions, which presiding judge Michael Gaffey had said lacked specificity, aka wasn't specific, the defense opened the door to prosecutors being able to share with the jury text messages regarding that prior incident, the judge told lawyers Friday morning. So the defense opened up the door, his defense. That's interesting. Why would they do that? It makes me wonder if there's more going on. On a cross-examination earlier this week, Priya Chaudhry, that's his lawyer, one of Major's defense lawyers, had drilled Jabari about why the morning after the alleged March 2023 incident, the woman had told emergency personnel that she did not remember how she had become injured. Gaffey said Friday morning that Chaudhry had asked the question in an effort to impugn Jabber's credibility, even though they know there might be another reason she was not forthcoming. That's all true as well. But these lawyers, man, their job is to win. I mean, look at some of the craziest historical cases like OJ. Like, there's been people who, on the surface, may seem guilty, but their lawyers are good at building that reasonable doubt. You understand what I'm saying? That's their job. That's why they get paid so much. They literally save you from prison. Even if you actually commit crimes, they save you from prison. And I'm not saying that's right, but that's how the legal system is sometimes. In those September 2022 text messages, Majors have responded to Jabari threatening suicide if then girlfriend went to the hospital for her injured head. See that right there? That whole "I'm gonna kill myself if you tell," that's major narcissistic gaslighting right there, ladies and gentlemen. If that is true, this guy, maybe the stories are true about him, yo. He says, last night I considered killing myself versus coming home. Majors wrote to Jabari, adding, I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man, I don't deserve it, and I should just kill myself in this way. My existence is miserable. I want to die. I don't know, man. He was already, September 2022, he was already getting these big roles. He was already doing them. So, I mean, it doesn't mean that just because you're getting big roles does not mean you're going to, be okay, but still. So she said, her response was, I will not go to the doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so or don't trust me. I promise you I would never mention you, but understand your fear. Telling her that she could not reject his love and admonishing her for not hugging him after the alleged fight, Majors noted by text, I will probably kill myself. It's not really contemplating anymore. He added, I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon. This is very manipulative, yo. Like, I don't know. This comes off very manipulative. He's trying to get her to not tell the cops because if he kills himself, she would feel this incredible amount of guilt and she would lose him. That is the stuff you see from abusive relationships, folks. I'm just keeping it real with you, man. You know me, I keep it real on this motherfucker. As the text messages were read aloud to the jury, Major, seated at the defense table in a black suit and white collar shirt, kept his head down, hands in his lap, his binder of notes shut. Damn, man. He's over here like, fuck, I can't believe this is happening. When the prosecutor finished reading the messages, the actor looked briefly at the jury. The details of that September 2022 incident were not further detailed for the jury, as that earlier incident is still otherwise precluded from coming into trial. Yeah, but it's still, I don't know. So there's more text here, right? It says there's photographs of a hand, shoulder, and buttocks, along with text about punching, discussing pain, as shared with the jury Friday. Text with JM using Major's initials, RE medical treatment. Damn, bro. What the hell? On Friday, Galloway then moved in on her redirect questioning of Jabari to the March 2023 incident, asking Jabari why she initially told the Mercy personnel she did not know how she had become injured. I was scared of the consequences of it. I still wanted to protect him. Miss Jabari Galloway asked, do you know who caused your injuries in March 2025, 2023? I do. The defendant, Jonathan Majors. Oh my God, bro. This man might be done. Facing charge of assault in the third degree with intent to cause physical injury, assault in the third degree recklessly causing physical injury, aggravated harassment in the second degree, and harassment in the second degree connection with an alleged fight between him and Jabari that spilled into the streets of Chinatown. I don't know, man. We'll see what else comes up. But it just doesn't look good. But again, we've seen situations where things don't look good and they turn out to be okay. What do you think about all this, yo? Leave a comment down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And I will talk to you real soon.